The theme of this year's Catholic Education Week is also the name of the newest pastoral letter from the Bishops of Ontario regarding Catholic schools, Renewing the Promise. The letter, Renewing the Promise, represents the culmination of a province-wide consultation and reflection on the signs of the times and the call of the Lord regarding the ongoing gift of publicly funded Catholic education in Ontario. Along with many priests, teachers, students, trustees, and other staff, I also participated in many of these reflective sessions. What a joy it is to gather with such faith-filled, enthusiastic, caring individuals who, all in their own way and according to their own gifts, are living out the promise upon which the Catholic education system was founded centuries ago. As we celebrate this week under this banner of Renewing the Promise, let us consider what this means in terms of where we have come from. In Ontario, Catholic education began as a promise 180 years ago, even before Canada was a country. Religious men and women, wanting to fulfill their own promise of handing on the gospel, gave hope to new generations by teaching them to read and write in order to prepare them for the challenges of life. Despite the changing society in which we live and the challenges we face in every generation, more and more men and women, religious, clergy, and lay people, have made the very same promise. A promise is an assurance that you will do what you say you will. The promise to pass on the treasure of our faith to the next generation and to accompany them on their journey continues today in our publicly funded Catholic schools in Ontario. Over the past 180 years, the task of education has become much more complex. New technologies, changing social structures, cultural pressures, and our ever-increasing awareness of global disasters present both challenges and opportunities for educators. Our Catholic schools have never been so involved in witnessing locally and globally to our gospel values. Over the last 40 years, our popes have spoken to the needs of young people. Pope St. John Paul II in 1984, speaking to the youth of Canada, recognized their eagerness to find the values that would bring meaning and purpose to their lives. Pope Benedict XVI, speaking at World Youth Day in 2008, prayed that the fire of the Holy Spirit would ever more closely unite young people to the Lord and His Church, so that they may bring Christ to the world. And just last year, Pope Francis encouraged the youth of Canada to flood the places in which they find themselves with the joy and enthusiasm that comes from knowing Jesus. Our Holy Fathers speak of the hunger for truth, the power of the Holy Spirit to make us disciples, the joy of the gospel that comes from the personal encounter with Christ. Our popes and saints of the Church remind us what is most important to young people today, and our Catholic schools are taking up the challenge to be models and witnesses, places of truth and encounter, places of community and journey, places of mercy and joy. This is the promise. What a worthy promise indeed. I urge each of you to reflect on that part of the mission to which you are called. Are you a leader in the Catholic school system with administrative responsibilities? Are you in a position to influence and guide others? Do you have a supporting role to play in keeping facilities, records, finances, day-to-day operations in good order? Do you teach? Do you teach the faith in word and deed? What can we do to deepen our understanding, to learn more, to witness to our faith to those around us? Are you a parent or caregiver who entrusts your children to the Catholic school system? How do you partner with the adults at the school? How do you support the faith learning going on in the classroom? Do you pray for the school community? Are you a member of the parish, a community partner, a neighbor to a Catholic school? Is there any part of the mission of the school in which you are called to take part? Is there any way in which you can be more knowledgeable of the good works taking place in your local Catholic school? Are you praying for our young people? I ask all of you to take time this spring to truly recall the gift of Catholic education in this province. We can easily become complacent. aware in only a superficial way of the gift of Catholic education. I urge you to take time in your homes, your community groups, your parish gatherings, to raise your awareness of the history and ground of Catholic education in the excellent film produced by the Catholic Education Foundation of Ontario and others called Upon Whose Shoulders. Take time to read the pastoral letter, Renewing the Promise, and reflect on the insights and challenges it presents us. In this week of celebration of our Catholic school systems, I encourage each of us to renew our promise, that each of us give an assurance that no matter what our role is, either parent or student or teacher or trustee or pastor or administrator, we will do what we have said we will. We will support and work in and with our Catholic schools, passing on the faith that has been handed on to us. Renewing the promise means knowing the gospel, living the gospel, and proclaiming the gospel by our lives. May we celebrate well in this week, remembering those who first made the courageous promise, grateful for those who today remain faithful to it, and emboldened to be the ones to carry that promise forward in the years to come.